I want to talk about how we train our team to properly communicate with clients, because we all know in the agency world, most of our work is online, remote. So the way that you communicate, whether it's through emails, through Slack messages, reports, it needs to be professional, but it also needs to be warm and friendly, because we all have received those emails where it almost sounds a little snarky and they totally didn't mean it, but there's ways that you can communicate and there's ways that you can teach your team to communicate so that it's coming off professionally and warm and friendly.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
So let's talk about email communication. Katie, I think you're like the queen of emails, like we say at Dot. So why don't you tell us how you approach a communication, whether it's email or whatever. How do you approach it so that it comes off warm and friendly?
Yeah, so I think I do have this writing background with PR and even my English major. So I even like to just write like baseline. But to communicate effectively over email is almost this whole other beast, because you're right, like those different tones, different nuances, who really knows? And maybe even if the receiver is having a bad day, they just automatically think that all emails are terrible. So it is kind of a special sort of area that needs to be well massaged. So when they actually go out, there's little room for interpretation and people actually know exactly your tone and what you're talking about. And there's different ways that we actually train our CAMs to be really awesome emailers. And the first is definitely straight and to the point. We like to be super concise and really sweet, I guess, or friendly, but definitely not sort of overwhelming in terms of words and run-on sentences and even paragraphs kind of all lumped together. So space is good. We certainly like a warm welcome and a lot of space in between each line, each paragraph that usually is quite short and to the point. Another best practice that we have is the lost art of the emoji, right? Like nobody thinks that it's kind of professional or wants to put the wrong one, or what does this mean? Again, open for interpretation. But you know what? It's a nice little addition to every email because it does kind of make those sentences a little more friendly, a little more cheery if you need a high five or a wave in there. And so we do actually encourage the use of not too many, but some emojis. So kind of two takeaways that really work well for client account managers, especially those being trained by Dot. Short and to the point. We definitely want to make sure that there's lots of space and the emails are easy to read. And then also they're not overwhelming. And then sprinkle in some emojis.
Love that. And also another trick is using the odd exclamation mark. Maybe it's "Hi Katie!" exclamation mark. That just kind of up levels, like you're just kind of upbeat. That's just a little trick. Another huge thing that we encourage is, let's say your team isn't as warm and friendly as you'd like. You can easily just ask them to use Grammarly. It's a free tool. Install it on your computer, and I write a lot of my emails right inside of Grammarly, checking for spelling mistakes, how things come across, how they run on sentences. Things like that is a really great tool to use.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It'll actually tell you kind of the mood of your email almost, right? Like super friendly or chipper or professional. They'll say like happy, professional. So that's really cool to see. There are times when you need to be a little more professional than others. So that's great to see in terms of you're on the right track. Grammarly can not only kind of fix typos or grammar mistakes that we all have, that's natural. Sometimes fingers go quicker than your brain, but it also really sets the tone for your email and is a really great resource. And another kind of quick tip is maybe don't caps things. You know what I mean? Like let's not overuse the caps. So something like italics works a little bit better when you're trying to emphasize something, but I do find like the use of caps is just like so off-putting.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, whoa, stop yelling at me.
Whoa, stop yelling at me. Exactly.
Yeah. So if you want to encourage your team to maybe write emails a little warmer, or you want them to maybe use a template, definitely send them this podcast, or we have free templates on our website, dotandcompany.co/email. And highly recommend, if your team isn't communicating the way you like, just let them know. It can be tricky, but the more templates that you show them how you want things written, or encourage them to use Grammarly, listen to this podcast, it'll just improve over time.
And just as a final note on the email, yeah, we're all emailing every day, but we are human, and those personal touches are so nice. So knowing that maybe a holiday is coming up, maybe they have children, anything that can kind of put that personal touch in there is always a really great practice, because email and online is a really great way to communicate. And it's kind of the way people communicate, especially in digital marketing agencies. So just knowing that there are people out there kind of in tune with you as a person, as well as in tune with your business.
Love that. And of course, if you're looking for more support when it comes to training, definitely reach out. We'd be happy to have that conversation. Thank you so much for listening into another episode of the Happy Clients Podcast. Until next time,
cheers to happy clients.